Okay, so I've put 4,500 on the CRF now, and I've modified it quite a bit, and it's going great guns. I'm absolutely loving this bike. Reduces the gearing, freed up the breathing by improving the exhaust and the air inlet, adjusted the electronic fuel injection, and a few ergonomic mods and stuff. The only real handling modification I've made so far has been to I just made the arse end slide then. The only handling modification I've made so far has been my tyres, and they're pretty good. So let's run through the modifications. So, snotty shit. In order: 13-tooth front sprocket, Pro Taper contour handlebars, bark busters, throttle grips. I shortened my levers. Next I went for the 44-tooth rear and a new chain. After that I went for new tyres, front and rear. They were fantastic. Motors Tractionator Enduro IT tyre, and they've helped me rebuild my confidence actually. I had a bad accident early on after owning the bike, and the motors have just gripped so well that I've gotten back to trusting the bike and my riding, to be honest. So no, they've been one of the best investments I've made for that reason alone. They haven't let me down. I've just ridden this bike since putting them on. I've ridden it to places I just wouldn't have thought it would go. Certainly not when I used to run around out here on the old tyres. And they just seem to find grip. They self-clean really well. They're really quite an amazing set of tyres. So after the tyres and the gearing changes, I bought myself a DRD speedo recalibrator, so I could get the speedo reading correctly again. I fitted a DRC Edge tail light to the rear, which saved me quite a bit of weight. And that's one of the things I've been trying to do with the bike, is reduce the weight that sits above its centre of gravity. It tends to, it's a pretty heavy bike when you're in tight single track stuff, which is what I'm usually riding on. And yeah, I've actually made really good steps. Like, I think my obsession with cutting weight is probably finished pretty much now. So the DRC Edge probably it saved me quite a bit, because the stock tail light assembly on these is a big chunky piece of plastic, and it's really quite heavy. So I think the back end looks good now with the new tail light. Looks better than the old thing, and it's shaved a bit of weight. So from there I went to the power of the engine, so I felt I'd got my gearing right. And this was also part of the quest to save weight, was to get rid of the stock exhaust system. So, well, number one, in standard form, the bike sounds like a sewing machine. It's got no real note at all. It doesn't breathe very well, and it's a really, really heavy lump of steel, and it's all sitting above your centre of gravity. So I went for the Yoshimura RS4 full exhaust. It's quite loud, I don't mind that, and most of the areas I ride in, yeah, it's not like I'm riding where there's residences and things like that, so yeah, doesn't matter if my bike's a bit loud. It breathes a lot better. It's got the header as well, so I had to save up my money before I could do the next modification, even though that modification was cheap. I needed to have to take the full advantage of the exhaust, I needed to open up the air inlet as well. And the consensus on most of what I've read about modifying these bikes is that about 2-inch inlet is pretty close. But I had to get the electronic jet kit product from Dobek so that I could adjust the fuel programming when I did it. Knowing it was on its way, I did the airbox modification. Cost me about $7 to do. The EJK enabled me to richen up the fuel mix a bit, so because I'd improved the engine's breathing so much, it was going to be running a bit lean. So I fitted the EJK. I did that with the standard settings that they come with, which is designed for that modification, an open exhaust and an opened up airbox. I found the stock settings probably a little bit rich, so I went to my go-to source for all things CRF, and I went to Thumper Talk and searched the forums, and it seemed like most of the people there were using EJK settings from an Australian guy called Positron, so I programmed it up with those settings. And they're spot on, really runs well. So since fitting the EJK, the performance on the bike now is amazing. Off-road never looks like stalling, no matter, I can just let it idle along. If I give the throttle a bit of a crack, providing I've got enough traction, because she comes on pretty sudden, I can lift the front wheel. I'm not talking about popping monos, but I am talking about getting the front wheel light enough to make it easier to work my way around obstacles. And around about this point, in terms of my riding's improved. I've been riding again now for about 18 months, so I hadn't ridden a bike off-road in 30 odd years when I jumped back on this. And having a bad accident as well, then your confidence gets shattered. So 18 months on, starting to have a high degree of confidence in the bike and in myself, and learning its handling characteristics, and where a bit of throttle could be used to turn more sharply, or it really is going like a bomb. I absolutely love the bike now. I haven't finished modifying. It's one of those things I probably never will finish modifying. I enjoy the process of modifying the bike. But it started off as a good bike. I'd now call it a great bike. And, it may get even better yet. Oh, there you go. She'll pop a mono now. I was really only trying to see if I could actually lift it up, but yes, you can. Well, there you go, people. Anyone riding around on a standard CRF will know just how difficult that used to be to do. That is the best example I can give you of what these modifications will do.